Picture this, the power grid goes down tonight. No warning, no explanation, just sudden darkness. The grocery stores are still open, but within hours, panic sets in. By the end of tomorrow, shelves are stripped bare. No bread. No milk. No canned goods. No
Well,
rice.
you don't see
That's not a fantasy.
you don't see empty
That's
shelves
exactly
too
what
often.
happens in every disaster.
So
When
that in
hurricanes
itself
hit,
is like
when storms roll in,
an
when supply
opportunity.
chains snap, people don't buy just a little extra. They panic. They strip the shelves in hours. Now here's the horrifying truth most people don't want to hear: the average American household has less than 3 days' worth of food in their home. 3 days. That means by day 4 of any crisis, desperation sets in. Neighbors start looking to neighbors. Families turn to strangers. And when stomachs are empty, people do things you and I don't even want to imagine. So ask yourself this: if the lights went out tonight, if trucks stopped rolling, if you couldn't walk into a store tomorrow morning, how long would you last? I'll tell you the answer: for most people, not long. And that's why I'm here. Because if you're watching this, you already feel it. You already know something is wrong. You already know the systems we depend on are fragile. And here's the cold reality: you do not have time to hesitate. You need a plan. A real plan. And that starts with building a simple, affordable, 2-week emergency food supply. Not gourmet meals, not luxury items, survival food. Food that keeps you alive, keeps you thinking clearly, keeps you strong enough to protect the people you love. And I'm not just talking about a grocery list. I'm going to break down everything you need to know: how much food, what types of food, how to store it, how to rotate it, and even how to cook it when the power is gone. But before we get into the exact foods, I need you to understand this: 2 weeks isn't a luxury. 2 weeks is the bare minimum. Because the difference between being prepared and being caught empty-handed could mean everything when the crisis hits. Stick with me, because once you see the truth about how fragile the system really is, you'll never look at your pantry the same way again. You might be wondering, why 2 weeks? Why not just
Well, you
stock
don't see,
up for a few days and hope things blow over?
You don't see empty shelves
Because
too
here's
often.
the truth: in any serious disaster, 3
That in
days won't
itself is
cut
like
it. Even
an
a week
opportunity.
won't cut it. 2 weeks is the bare minimum to survive the initial chaos. It gives you a buffer when everyone else is panicking, fighting, and begging. It buys you time. Even FEMA, the government's own emergency agency, recommends at least 2 weeks of food and water for every single person in your home. But here's where people make a deadly mistake: they take FEMA's advice as if it's generous. It's not. 2 weeks is the floor, not the ceiling. It's survival 101. Now let's be brutally honest: most people won't listen. They'll say, "Oh, if something happens, I'll just go to the store. Or worse, I'll figure it out." But when those shelves are empty, and the delivery trucks have stopped, figuring it out isn't an option. By then it's too late. That's why we prepare. That's why you and I take this seriously. Because I refuse to depend on luck when it comes to feeding my family. Now here's the next hard truth: when new preppers try to build a food supply, they almost always do it wrong. They buy all the wrong things. They waste money on stuff that spoils, takes too long to cook, or their family refuses to eat. They buy in panic mode, not in smart mode. And when the time comes to actually rely on their stash, it fails them. So let me warn you now about the most common mistakes I see. First, buying only survival food buckets without real meals in mind. Those buckets might look impressive, but half the time they're overpriced, undercaloried, and taste like cardboard. You can do better yourself. Second, ignoring calories. Survival isn't about having random boxes of crackers. It's about energy. If your food supply doesn't cover the calories you need, you're setting yourself up for hunger and weakness at the worst possible time. Third, forgetting about water. People load up on dry goods, but forget you need water to cook them. No water, no rice. No beans. No pasta. Without water, your so-called food supply becomes useless. And finally, the biggest mistake, storing food your family doesn't even eat. I've seen people stockpile 20 cans of peas when nobody in the house will touch them. That is wasted money, wasted space, and wasted hope. In a crisis, you need food you'll actually eat. That's why I don't just want you to throw random things into your cart. I want you to plan. I want you to build your 2-week supply the smart way, with food that actually fuels you, food your family won't reject, food that can be cooked in different ways, and food that won't rot in a few months. Because here's something most people overlook: survival isn't just about calories, it's about mindset. If you're stuck eating food you hate, day after day, your morale will collapse. You'll feel weaker. You'll stop thinking clearly. And in a crisis, low morale can kill just as quickly as hunger. So in the next section, I'm going to break down exactly what to buy. I'm talking about real food, the staples that will keep you strong, keep you moving, and keep you alive. Foods that are cheap, shelf-stable, and proven to last. Stay with me. Because once you see how simple and powerful this plan is, you'll realize you don't have to spend thousands of dollars or waste months of your life building your supply. You just need to do it the right way. Alright, now it's time for the real meat of this video. We've talked about why you need a 2-week food supply. We've talked about why most people get it wrong. Now let me show you exactly how to build it, step by step. I'm going to break it down into categories so it's easy to remember, easy to buy, and easy to store. These are the same staples I keep in my own home. If you follow this plan, you'll have enough calories, variety, and flexibility to feed yourself and your family for at least 14 days. Let's start with grains and carbs, because this is the backbone of your survival food. Carbs are energy. They keep you moving, they keep you warm, and they fill your stomach when stress makes you feel hollow. Rice. White rice, not brown. Brown rice has oils that go rancid after a few months. White rice, stored properly, can last for years. A 20-pound bag is cheap, and it gives you thousands of calories. With just rice alone, you've got a foundation for meals. Pasta. Dry pasta is another must. It cooks quickly, stores easily, and pairs with almost anything. Oats. Oatmeal is a lifesaver. It's cheap, filling, and can be eaten sweet or savory. Plus, it's quick to cook, even with limited fuel. Flour or pancake mix. With some oil and water, you can make flatbreads, biscuits, or simple pancakes. Bread is comfort, and comfort matters. Now let's move to proteins, because carbs keep you full, but protein keeps you strong. Without it, your body breaks down fast. Canned meats. Tuna, chicken, salmon, even Spam. They're ready to eat, they pack protein, and they last for years. Beans. Both canned beans and dry beans. Canned are ready to go, no cooking required. Dry beans take longer, but they're dirt cheap and store forever. Peanut butter. High in calories, high in fat, high in protein, and doesn't need refrigeration. A survival powerhouse. Powdered eggs or freeze-dried meat if you can afford it, these stretch your protein options even further. Next up, fruits and vegetables. This is where most people fail. They load up on rice and beans and forget about vitamins. Without vitamins, you risk scurvy, weakness, and immune collapse. Canned vegetables. Corn, peas, carrots, green beans. Buy what your family already eats. Canned fruit. Pineapple, peaches, pears, applesauce. These also give you a sweet morale boost when things feel dark. Tomato products. Canned tomatoes, pasta sauce, salsa. They're versatile and add flavor to otherwise bland meals. Dehydrated or freeze-dried veggies. If you can afford them, they're lightweight, long-lasting, and nutrient-dense. Now let's talk about fats, because this is the secret most people ignore. Your body needs fat for energy, for warmth, for brain function. And in a survival situation, fats are hard to come by. Cooking oil. Vegetable oil, olive oil, even shortening. Keep it sealed and rotate it every year. Butter powder or ghee. These last much longer than fresh butter and add calories you'll desperately need. Nuts and seeds. Almonds, sunflower seeds, trail mix. High in calories, high in nutrition, and easy to snack on. Don't forget the extras, these aren't luxuries, they're survival tools. Salt. You cannot live without salt. It preserves food, seasons bland meals, and keeps your body functioning. Sugar or honey. For baking, for energy, for morale. Coffee or tea. Not just for comfort, caffeine keeps you alert when sleep is scarce. Spices. Chili powder, garlic, onion powder, bouillon cubes. These take boring rice and beans and turn them into actual meals. Now, let's talk calories and portions. Because it's not enough to just throw food in a closet, you need to know if it's actually enough. Here's a rule of thumb: the average adult needs about 2,000 calories per day just to maintain energy. More if you're under stress, chopping wood, hauling water, or defending your home. Multiply that by 14 days, and that's 28,000 calories per person. So if you've got a family of 4, that means you're aiming for over 112,000 calories stored away. Sounds like a lot, but it's not when you buy smart. Let me give you an example. A 20-pound bag of rice has about 32,000 calories. That's already more than 2 weeks for one person, just from rice. Add a few jars of peanut butter, and you've got another 10,000 calories. Toss in canned meat, beans, and pasta, and you're easily building a balanced 14-day supply without breaking the bank. Now here's the key: don't just buy the calories. Plan your meals. Think about what you'll actually eat on day 10, when the stress has set in and options are limited. Because that's when people crack. Here's a simple 2-week meal rotation you can follow. Breakfasts: oatmeal with sugar or peanut butter. Pancakes with canned fruit. Powdered eggs with rice or beans. Lunches: rice with beans and canned chicken. Pasta with tomato sauce. Crackers with peanut butter and canned fruit. Dinners: rice with canned meat and vegetables. Pasta with tuna and sauce. Soup made from beans, rice, and bouillon. Notice the pattern. Every meal has carbs, protein, and either fruits or vegetables. And every meal can be made with shelf-stable food that requires little or no refrigeration. Here's the bottom line: with a couple $100 at the grocery store, or less, if you shop smart, you can build a rock-solid 2-week emergency food supply. No fancy prepper stores, no overpriced buckets, just smart choices. And if you're thinking, well, I'll get around to it later, let me stop you right there. Later might not come. Later might be the day the shelves are already stripped bare. Later might be the day you're staring at your kids' empty plates. This is why we prepare now. This is why we build it before the storm, not after. Now here's the thing most people never think about. You can have all the rice, pasta, and beans in the world, but what happens when the power goes out? How are you going to cook it? How are you going to boil water? If you don't plan for cooking without electricity, your food supply is only half a plan. So let me give you some real solutions. First, a simple camp stove. A small propane or butane stove can cook dozens of meals on a single canister of fuel. Lightweight, compact, and cheap. Second, sterno cans or alcohol stoves. They're not fast, but they'll heat canned food and boil water in a pinch. Third, a charcoal grill or fire pit. If you've got outdoor space, This is survival cooking at its most basic. Stockpile extra charcoal or keep a few bundles of dry wood. And fourth, no cook meals. Always keep options that require zero cooking: canned beans, canned meat, peanut butter, crackers, oats soaked in water. You need backup meals you can eat cold if fuel runs out. Now let's talk about rotation and storage. Because having a food supply is one thing, keeping it fresh is another. Here's my system, and it's simple: eat what you store what you eat. That means don't buy food just to hide it in a closet. Buy food your family already eats. Rotate it into your meals. When you use a can, replace it. When you open a bag, buy another. That way your supply is always fresh, always ready. Label everything with a marker, the purchase date on the top or side of the can. That way you always know what to use first. And store food in cool, dark, dry places. Avoid garages that get blazing hot in the summer. Heat destroys shelf life. Now, water. This is the one that can kill you the fastest. You can go weeks without food, but only 3 days without water. And in a disaster, clean water is often the first thing to disappear. FEMA says 1 gallon per person, per day. That covers drinking, minimal cooking, and hygiene. So for 2 weeks, that's 14 gallons per person. If you've got a family of 4, you need at least 56 gallons. Sounds like a lot, but it's doable. Here's how. Start with bottled water. Cases from the store are cheap and stack easily. Add water jugs or 5-gallon containers. Store them in a closet, under a bed, or along a wall. Invest in a water filter. Life Straw, Sawyer Mini, or a gravity-fed system. These can turn dirty water from a creek, pond, or even a puddle into safe drinking water. And here's a pro tip: when disaster strikes and you know water might shut off, fill your bathtub immediately. You can get 50+ gallons of clean water stored in minutes. There are even products like the Water Bob designed for exactly that. Now let me be blunt: without water, your food stash is worthless. You can't cook rice without water. You can't eat pasta. You can't even digest protein properly. So when you build your 2-week food supply, make sure you're building your water supply right alongside it. Food and water are inseparable. One without the other is a fatal mistake. Remember this: people don't panic first for food. They panic for water. And when desperation sets in, water becomes worth more than gold. So plan now. Store it now. Filter it now. Don't wait until your faucets run dry. You've now got the foundation: 2 weeks of food, water, and the means to cook it. That alone puts you ahead of 90% of households. But let me ask you something: do you really believe 2 weeks is enough? What happens when the crisis doesn't end in 14 days? What happens when the stores stay empty, the trucks don't come, and the power doesn't come back? That's why smart preppers use 2 weeks as the starting line, not the finish line. So here's how you scale it up without losing your mind or draining your wallet. Step 1: double it. Once you have 14 days of food, repeat the system. Go from 2 weeks to 30 days. Buy another bag of rice, another case of beans, another round of canned meat. Don't reinvent the wheel, just expand it. Step 2: invest in long-term storage. Things like Mylar bags, oxygen absorbers, and food-grade buckets can turn a $20 bag of rice into a 20-year investment. Freeze-dried meals, powdered milk, and commercial number 10 cans are expensive, but they last decades. Mix these in as your budget allows. Step 3: think barter. In long-term crises, food becomes currency. Stockpile extras like coffee, sugar, salt, and even alcohol. Not just for you, but as trade items when others are desperate. Step 4: keep your supply hidden. This is the ugly side of prepping that no one likes to talk about. When your neighbors are starving, and word gets out that you have food, you become a target. Keep it discreet. Don't broadcast it. Protect it. And finally, step 5, build the mindset. Prepping isn't about hoarding. It's about responsibility. It's about saying, my family will not starve. We will not beg. We will not become victims. That mindset is what separates survivors from statistics. Now let me leave you with this. Right now, as you sit here, trucks are hauling food to your local store. Farmers are harvesting. Factories are packaging. The system is running. But it's a fragile system, held together by thin threads: fuel, power, labor, transport. Cut just one of those threads, and the whole thing collapses. It doesn't take a war. It doesn't take a massive disaster. It only takes one unexpected break in the chain, and the shelves go empty, just like they did during hurricanes, just like they did during the pandemic, just like they've done time and time again throughout history. The question is, will you be one of the desperate, or one of the prepared? Because here's the hard truth: nobody's coming to save you in the first 14 days of chaos. Not the government. Not your neighbors. Not the store. You are on your own. But that's not bad news. That's empowering. Because right now, today, you can choose to be ready. You can choose to be the one with a stocked pantry, clean water, and the ability to protect and feed your family while others panic. You don't need millions of dollars. You don't need a bunker in the woods. You just need the discipline to take action, right now. So here's my challenge to you: don't just watch this video and think, that's a good idea. Take the first step tonight. Go to the store. Buy that bag of rice. Pick up those cans of beans. Grab the peanut butter, the oats, the water jugs. Start with something. Build momentum. Because when the lights go out, it's too late to start. Prepare now. Build your 2-week food supply. Protect your family. And sleep tonight knowing that no matter what comes tomorrow, you will be ready.